Welcome to In the Moment with Kortia, where we inform, inspire, and motivate you to be a positive agent of change. Happy Thursday on this thriving Thursday. And look, family, you know the number. Call in to the radio station at the local number and on our toll-free long-distance number. But look, follow us all across social media at In the Moment with Kortia Kuzan, and definitely continue to visit us at our website at In the Moment with KortiaKuzan.com. And on this thriving Thursday, just like we continually say, we're definitely going to give you examples of people that are out there and actually tapping into that seed of greatness that God has on the inside of them, you know, walking in their gifting and doing, you know, what just comes really natural to them. And, you know, like I said, as God brings it to me, I'm going to bring you examples and the people that are actually doing it right now. And today we've got our extra special guest in the house, Mr. Shane Williams of 3SG Sports. Shane, why don't you go ahead and say hello to everyone?
Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. And, you know, and you might say, well, what is Shane about? What is Shane doing? And you hear 3SG Sports. Well, a lot of you, just like me, may have been under the misconception that, you know, you can just go ahead and work hard in life and, you know, be in the sports area and then just go ahead and go right into the NFL or the NBA. But Shane is a legitimate, bona fide, God-centered sports agent. And I tell you, he's got some really good info and some really good insight to share. And so since we have some good subject matter here, we're not going to hold Shane back. We're going to let him get right up into it. So, Shane, I'm just going to say thank you for being on the show this morning. I mean, I'm excited myself because I'm just ready for my knowledge level to just go through the roof.
Definitely.
Definitely, you know, let me ask you this. You know, it's probably the biggest question and the first question, you know, I ask everyone that's on the show. And a lot of people always want to know the background. And because, you know, how people always want to see how they can relate to an individual in a given field. I mean, so when did you actually first realize you wanted to get in the, like, sports agency business? What was that spark that you said, hey, this is what I want to do?
It started when I was probably in high school. Just being in high school, it came to me that because I was into sports, my brothers we all played sports, but I was the type of person that, you know, even when I looked at Michael Jordan, it wasn't about the shoes. It wasn't about just about the dunks. I wanted to know, okay, how's he getting that shoe deal? Like, who's behind the scenes? Who's the kingmaker? And so I found out that sports agents were those individuals. And so it wasn't, you know, back then, you know, it was in the 90s. It wasn't the internet. They didn't have Google. So I had to do my own research, and I realized that sports agents were that conduit to those players' success in some areas. And so I also found out that a lot of sports agents have to be very knowledgeable in contract negotiations, and a lot of sports agents, not all, but a lot, they go to law school. So that's when I decided that I was going to go on that track, go to law school, and then use that as a springboard to get some more education on contract negotiations and other areas, and then eventually become a sports agent. And so that's how I really got into it. But it was something that God put in my heart when I was, you know, probably in my early teenage years.
And see, I'm listening to Shane right now, and he's talking about, you know, he got this early on in life, okay, in his teenage years. And you know how we keep talking about being that positive agent of change, and then that thing that you just seem to flow in, that you would just do naturally, all right, the thing that brings you joy in life. How, you know, Shane, on yesterday we were talking about a lot of times people just overlook what is really their natural gifting, what really brings them pleasure, and it's the thing that God really wants them to do, to open those doorways, you know, to not only prosper them, but their family, their community, and, you know, everyone they get them in connection with. And, you know, just like with you as a teenager, you made that decision internally, but you took an active role in trying to find out the information about it. And then you started tailoring your life to that.
Definitely. It was, like I said, it was something that was put on my heart. And I didn't talk about it all the time. A lot of people didn't know. I ran it by my family, but it wasn't something that I, you know, dwelled on every day. I just, when I was going through my matriculation through college, I always knew that I wanted to, once I graduated, got my bachelor's, I knew I wanted to go to law school. and I knew eventually once I got my law degree and everything that I wanted to pursue the arena of sports agency. So, and that's what I did.
I mean, that's just really awesome. And see, the thing is that really sticks out to me is that, when you were going through high school, I know when I was going through high school, just college, everything else, that most guys were talking about, man, when I get on that court, when I'm getting on the gridiron, whatever it is, because they were talking about always being the player. I can guarantee you from all of the individuals that I've actually connected with, you are the first person that has really been the one that wanted to be the behind the scenes guy, to move the pieces and everything. And that's really, really unique.
Definitely.
Really unique.
And definitely, playing sports, everybody has that dream of wanting to play professionally. I actually walked on at Southern for a year. I did play on a baseball team. So it was, opportunities were there, but as far as longevity, I knew that, I was being a sports agent probably was a better role for me. Mm-hmm. And so that's the road I took. But for other guys, if you feel like, the other road is better, then of course, you try to take it, but you always got to have a backup plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly. And I mean, wow. I mean, that's like so powerful. I mean, it just seems like just on this particular topic, you could just like go into like a whole show just on that. I mean, but I don't want to stagnate anything, and because Shane's got a wealth of information, and just in him talking about most sports agents go through law and everything, I had no clue. Now I'm sure some of you under the sound of my voice are probably saying, "Well, I just thought you just went to some training classes or a group or organization or a company, come up to a sports agency, and you never had to do these things." But it makes sense that how you said behind the scenes, you want to know how Michael Jordan, well, I just don't want to know how he's dunking and all of this. I want to know about the person that's getting him the contracts and
Definitely.
all of these things. And it goes in there. I actually did not know, and this may be me just being gullible and focusing on, the actual sports side too much, but I really didn't know. Is it that the sports agents actually negotiate the marketing contracts for the athletes as well?
Definitely. Some sports agencies, they do the contract negotiations between the player and the team, mm-hmm. but they also have marketing divisions where they can, do apparel deals, they can do shoe deals, all of that stuff, and we do that at my agency as well. So it's opportunities to have control over every aspect of the athlete's career if it comes to that. But definitely that's a big part of representing guys in the NFL, the NBA, and other professional leagues.
Wow. And I'm here to tell you, I'm going to keep on mentioning it, and that's Shane Williams with 3SG Sports. Look, and it's so evident in how what Shane is doing and how right now there's just like a proper foundation that's definitely being laid. And, not going to jump into the next point because, like I said, I want to give Shane plenty of time to get into it. But, look, you're listening to what he's saying, and, it's amazing at how, we say all the time, that, when the student is ready, we say that, Shane, then the teacher will appear, all right? And there are a lot of guys out there, just like you said, you walked onto the field on Southern. And, a lot of these guys, they look at, okay, I'm a walk-on. I don't have this scholarship. I mean, no one's coming to recruit me in my living room, none of that stuff. What chance do I actually have? I mean, what is it that you would actually say just in that before we go to the break? What kind of advice would you give someone in that position?
Definitely. I mean, the chances of a guy, playing high school, getting a scholarship, go to play college, doing well in college, and actually going to a professional league is probably less than 1%. So, you definitely want to make sure you get your education. They can't take that away from you. That's something that you could use the rest of your life. So that's not to say don't hone on your skills on the field, but also make sure that you hone in your skills off the field as well. Because even if you play football, even if you play basketball, you're talking about maybe a 3 to 5 year span, and you retire, you're still in your 30s. You got a whole life ahead of yourself. So you got to make sure you put yourself in a position to be successful. So make sure you get your education, focus on that, and have a backup plan. And even while you're playing in professional sports, make sure that you're setting yourself up for the future.
Awesome. And look, we're about to go ahead into this first break here, but I tell you what, it's already dynamic, and it's already showing you just how thriving this Thursday is. And when we come right back, we're going to make sure we keep you in your moment. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia Kuzin on this thriving Thursday. And look, yet again in the house, our extra special guest is Shane Williams of 3SG Sports.
Definitely glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Look, I tell you what, it's just not me trying to hype up Shane, but sports agent extraordinaire, just because I know the level of excellency that he takes in taking care of his players. So, I just want to make sure we value his time and give you all the information that's available, because I know each and every one of you under the sound of our voices are pretty much on the edge of your seats, because, hey, this is something, if you're just like me, you're really not familiar with the whole insides and inner workings of it. So, I'm going to get right back into it so Shane can just go ahead and, educate each and every one of us on everything. So, Shane, when did you actually, start, 3SG Sports? When did it, just, get birthed?
Definitely. It started around 2006. That's when I was out of law school, getting ready to. I had already passed the bar and bar exam to be certified to be a lawyer, and then I prayed to God, asked him, what's the name of the business that that he wanted us to have, and also who I wanted to link up with as far as being business partners, if any. And so he gave me the name 3SG Sports, and the 3S is for myself and my two brothers, Steve and Stephen Williams. And then I brought my mother in to Gloria Williams, because she's a very, very she has a lot of wisdom, and she's our special advisor. So that's how I came up. That's how the Lord brought it to me, and we came up with 3SG Sports Management. We signed our first client in 2008. That was a 2008 draft. So we've been signing guys and been doing it, actively since 2008.
Awesome. And I mean, definitely, like I said, and me having the privilege of actually, meeting Shane's family, who he mentioned, and I love how he's talking about his mom, that wisdom aspect of it. That's a well of information and wisdom that she has right there. But I mean, definitely having that connection and that foundation and everything that's there. And it just because of what I see, and I just want to give you listeners a kind of visual. You always hear about sometimes it's not good to get in business or do things with family. But I tell you what, when you actually see Shane and his brothers and his mom and connection, especially with the realm of what they're doing right now with 3SG Sports Agency, I mean, it just defies every little stereotype that's really out there. And I mean, that's just really awesome.
Definitely.
And at how he went, literally, I'm just going to say, to me, it looks like a really quick process. For him getting his law degree in 2006, transitioning to getting the first client, in 2008 through the NFL draft. And it's like right now, and I'm sure he realized that the little steps and how God's been taking and leading and guiding and has been progressing. But let me ask you, what as far as with 3SG, all right, with your sports agency, I mean, how do you actually, how can I say it? What type of services you provide for the athletes? How do you actually take care of the athletes?
Well, definitely. For our rookie clients, guys that are coming out of college and looking to go into, let's say, the NFL, what we do is we prepare them for the draft. We call it pre-draft training, because some guys get invited to the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, and that's where all NFL teams, they go to evaluate players. So it's a process you have to train, because you might have some guys that they might need to lose weight, they might need to gain weight, they might need to work on their speed aspect. So we provide them with training. We get them speed coach. We make sure they're getting the proper nutrition. Those are some of the things we do. We do contract negotiations. So after they get signed with a team or get drafted and are looking to get signed with a team, we negotiate their contract with the team. A lot of people don't know that NFL team, they can only contact a NFL PA, that's a National Football League Players Association certified contract advisor, which I am, or the player themselves to negotiate a contract. And most players, you're talking about 21, 22 years old, some of them even 20, they don't know how to negotiate a multi-million-dollar contract, so they need somebody to come in. And that's where we come in at. Also, we help them with post-career counseling. Like we were talking earlier, you have to have a plan after sports. So we work with them during their careers to see what's next after that's over. We put them in positions to be successful. Link them in with people that can help manage their money that they'll be getting in, because you're talking about millions of dollars that could be coming into their hands, and you're talking about young men, young women that have these these opportunities. So you want to make sure they're surrounded with people that can definitely help them manage their careers and be successful.
That's awesome. I mean, definitely, like you're putting so many different levels. I mean, it just really seems like you can go like to Ephesians, 10, the armor of God. It's basically like you're putting this armor around them. Not only it's every facet. I mean, I'm listening to this, and the whole dynamic that's just like being revealed to me. It's just like, at 3SG Sports, okay? I can't speak for anyone else, but for 3SG Sports, is that your agency, your brothers, your mom, you literally are taking a perspective and taking care of these potential, NFL players, NBA players, and you're taking care of them from the inside out. I mean, every dynamic.
Definitely. It's definitely when they come to 3SG Sports, it's like they're extension of our family. So their parents, like I said, these are young kids. So their parents are trusting us to give them sound advice, trusting us to do what we say we're going to do. So it's definitely a family atmosphere. We definitely personalize each player's approach, and we provide them, with superior representation and prioritize, things that they have going on. And also we do, I didn't mention, but we do marketing, endorsement deals, because a lot of players, they have opportunities to sign shoe deals with different companies. They have opportunities to have personal appearances, to have marketing opportunities with products and apparel and stuff like that. So that's another service that we provide in securing those deals with those players too.
Awesome. And it kind of sounds like, you've pretty much thought about every single thing that could possibly be done to really help give these, young athletes, all these potential, athletes that's going to make it into like the big time, as most people would say. You're really taking all of these pressures, as you want to say, off the plate, things they don't have to actually think about.
You hit it right on the head. I mean, it's we want their focus to be on training. We don't want their focus to be on, okay, what NFL teams are calling me, or is this in place as far as, my marketing, or is this in place as far as my training? We want them to just focus on training, get up every morning, focus on that, because at the end of the day, they got the biggest interview, of their careers coming up. Whether it be the NBA, whether it be the NFL Combine, NBA Combine, or whether it be their pro days, where NFL teams come to their respective colleges. So we want them to be prepared for that, and they only have a small window to prepare. You're talking about maybe 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow.
So as soon as they sign with us, that's one of the first things that we tell them, like, hey, focus on training and getting ready for your pro day or the combine, and let us focus on everything else.
And I really like how, that pressure. It's funny how it is. I know that you're listening right now. You're hearing what Shane's actually saying, okay? He's talking about how, 3SG Sports, all right, they're taking the pressures off of these athletes. And look, I mean, you definitely have to correlate that to how God's always trying to take the pressures off of us. Yeah. I mean, you can whether you realize it or not, you can hear all of the biblical aspects of things that are going on, in this business, okay, inside, of 3SG Sports. I mean, it's just really awesome at how it's all interwoven, and it's real, okay? It's legitimate. It's not just some superficial thing to where, you're going to have someone that's just going to smile in your face, and they're going to be, okay, let's get this contract, and then, you don't hear anything from the agent. This is something that Shane said, this is about, they become part of a family.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can actually say that a lot of these guys are, just from my experience coming from like the New Orleans area, there have been a lot of guys with potential. They've had a lot of guys with had opportunities, but then, they've just been, treated like a piece of merchandise instead of like an individual.
Definitely, yeah. You have to treat all these players with respect. So before we even, get ink to paper per se, sign contracts, we want to make sure that we sit down with the player, hopefully the player and their family, and let them know what we're about, and also kind of everybody get on the same page on what is going to happen going forward. So I think that helps a lot, and I think going into the deal, everybody's on the same page, and that's what's important when you're representing these players.
Awesome. And I tell you, that's just so much information that's here, and I just have question after question after question. But look, we have to go ahead into this next break. But look, stay tuned and stay in your moment, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia Kuzan on this thriving Thursday. And yet again, the dynamic, the proficient Shane Williams of 3SG Sports is in the house with us today.
Glad to be here.
And Shane, I just want to keep this flow going. And, the very next question that I actually have for you that, I know a lot of people want to know, what do you actually, do as far as like for the athletes? How do athletes know they need a sports agent? And then, of course, when should an athlete start to look for a sports agent? Because I really want to know that.
Yeah, definitely. You just take the NFL for example. Guys, you play, you go to college, you get a scholarship or whatever. You go to play for whatever particular college you're at. At some point, your eligibility is going to run up, and in the NFL, you can actually enter the draft after 3 years of being in college. So at that point, depending on your skill level and the information you're getting from your school and also the NFL advisory committee about where your standing is, after your third year, you can actually seek a opinion, to see, okay, am I a guy that can get drafted? And at that point, you can make a decision whether you want to come out or whether you want to stay and finish up your last year. And so at that point, I would definitely start considering looking at agents. Each school has a compliance department, athletic compliance department. Most schools require agents, certified agents, to register with those compliance departments. So you can start right there, looking and seeing who's available. Also, maybe talking to some of your teammates who from the past who signed with agents and seeing if if they had any ideas and things of that nature. But you definitely need to start thinking about it, definitely in your junior year or coming up to your junior year, and definitely, in your senior year, if that's something that you want to pursue down the road. So you want to get with your family, because again, you want or somebody that, that's in your circle, a mentor, or somebody that can give you some sound advice and help you facilitate that process. But you definitely want to start thinking about, aging at that point.
Awesome. And I like how you said, I know we had mentioned before about, the compliance departments of the different universities, different schools and whatnot. But, something should have clicked in my brain. I guess maybe the coffee didn't kick in already. But yes. I did not think that the athletes would actually be able to go to the compliance departments themselves for, possible a list of whatever it is that they have to solicit or call on a particular sports agent or agency.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a lot of schools have agent days where agents are able to come to the school, request interviews with players through the compliance department, and actually sit down with the player and their families at the school and actually conduct interviews. A lot of those are happening in the spring right now. Some of them are going to happen in the summer. In some schools, it happens after their season, around November, December. So I got something that's coming up pretty soon. Agent days at different schools this summer and also later on this spring. So it's a way that the player and their parents can meet with the agent face to face, and that way, even if they go back for their last year, they'll have time to really think about it and actually see the person. Because a lot of times, it's always good to put a name with a face and actually sit down and get a feel of a person.
Right.
Then just, okay, I'm going to go check the website out. He got, he has a certain amount of clients, I'm going to go with him. But sometimes sitting down with that person, because you want it to be a good fit,
exactly.
Personality-wise too. So, but definitely, that's in place at some schools. But most of the bigger schools, they allow that to happen.
Okay, awesome. And I mean, that's really great, and I love it how, you see a lot of times when you see different people signing for different contracts or agreements, and you see the families that are actually involved. And I know that's really, really key, and really, really big. But then, of course, like I said, you see some of the guys and gals out there that may be signing contracts, and they may be signing these contracts and all alone. But then, of course, that's where, a quality organization, well, I'm going to just say a quality, biblically foundation type, sports agency such as yourselves with, 3SG Sports, and how you're able to actually fill in that role to let them know that they're not alone in any stage of the process. So, that's really, really key,
Yeah, I think that's what. Excuse me. I think that's where the transparency comes in. When you sit down with them, you open and honest.
Oh yes.
Because a lot of players, they don't have parents that are that can help out. So it's a lot of, sometimes it's just you and the player.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about building that trust factor and just being, not taking advantage of them, but actually educating them on what's going on.
Exactly.
Don't just say, hey, sign here, you got a contract. Actually go line by line through the contract, through the process, multiple times so that they can understand it, so everybody will be on the same page. And that's what we do at 3SG Sports.
I mean, and that's great because you got to have a certain patience level. And, it's one of the things God had to show me, and what God has to show so many of us is that, we stuff just like all of the subject matter that all the knowledge that you have as far as like in the sports agency side, okay? You've got a law degree connects right to your sports agency. But then what you may say on a daily basis, it just seems so natural that you kind of think within yourself, well, everybody ought to pick this up because it just seems like it flows out of me. Yeah. But then when you get to a certain individual, that's in front of someone, and I'm sure a lot of times when you're with these athletes, it almost is intimidating for a lot of them because they just don't know what to expect. They think how they're going to look. That a lot of sports agents may, I'm not saying that they do, but just because if they try to use words that they're not familiar with, they feel like, less than adequate in the front of these individuals. Yeah. And I like how you take the approach to just meet them, right where they are.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like I said, a lot of these guys, you're talking about 20, 21 years old, 22 years old. So you definitely have to bring it down to their level. They're looking at a contract with all these words, all this language that they don't understand. So you have to break it down in layman's terms so that they can understand it. And also, like I said, you reinforce it, not just the day y'all meet and sign the contract, but just keep informing them of things, in everything, in every aspect, and anything that goes on, because these players, they're in college, they've been pretty much on a system, for the last 3 or 4 years, and now all of a sudden you're away from that system and you kind of on your own, and you want to make them feel comfortable and put a similar system in place, but just between the agency and the player, so that they're still structured, because that's what they've been used to. They've been used to a structured system. They wake up at 6 o'clock, they go train, they go to class, they go to practice, they go to study hall, and so now it's all of a sudden there's no more structure, so you want to keep them structured as well. That's why when we send them to these training facilities, and when they go to these training facilities, everything is structured. It's a time. Wake up, breakfast at 8, training from 8 to 12, 12 to 1 break, come back, so they still feel like they're under that same structure.
Good deal.
Definitely.
Good deal. And definitely the thing that we really want to jump into, before we go into our final little break, but, people have been waiting. I mean, how many guys are you actually representing right now as far as like, in this year's like NFL draft? And then, as far as like from that, what kind of feedback have you been getting from the different teams out there?
Definitely. Yeah. Right now I'm representing eight guys that are eligible for the 2019 NFL draft. They from all over the country, from different areas. I got guys from Portland, Oregon, all the way to right here that play right here at LC. So, but awesome. Been getting a lot of good feedback. I'm real positive feedback from teams. Actually, this tomorrow I have a player that's going to be doing a workout with the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. I got some players that'll be training and doing a combine in Houston on Saturday, and I got 5 players that have a trial with a professional team on Sunday. So it's like we're still grinding, we're still working. But as far as the feedback from teams, it's been very positive. A lot of good feedback, and definitely expecting some big things in the next couple of weeks.
Well, I mean, that's awesome. And see, that's what it's like all about. And, as far as like, I love how he said we got somebody that's going to be hometown with the Saints, because, a lot, and unfortunately what I found out, and I can definitely tell that, Shane, the people that are connection with him, his family, at 3SG Sports that, a lot of times a lot of the local talent
Definitely.
gets overlooked because so many people get caught up in these big names that are out there across the country, and you just totally walk by, quote unquote, the little guy that's standing right on side of you. That person that I think Shane and I mentioned at one point in time in the break, and how when you go to a movie, you're always pulling for like the underdog, right?
Definitely.
And then these underdogs are the ones that can actually be the one that really change a game for you.
Definitely.
That give you that drive, that push, and that heart, of the team that you actually need. And so definitely we're going to be keeping our eyes out for these players that are actually going through the trials, the pro days, the combines, and everything that's going on out there. And myself personally, I'm just looking, for 3SG Sports to just blow up beyond recognition. Now, I know, like I said, it's going to be going in different stages, and God's going to show you how to just go and systematically just grow, the right way, which is the right way to do things. But, definitely it's going to be it's kind of like I told one individual. It's like people are going to be contacting you, and it's going to be like you've got a waiting list, if you want to say.
Oh, yeah.
All right?
I received that.
Yeah.
I received that. And definitely this year that's kind of how it was this year. We a lot of the players that we signed, they actually contacted us. And so, that was definitely a God thing. And of course, you still got to use, wisdom and make sure it's a good fit. But it definitely, what you said is definitely starting to take place.
Awesome. And look, still got some great information. Like I said, we got Shane Williams from 3SG Sports. And look, stay tuned with us when we'll be back with you. Stay in your moment. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia Kuzan, and we have Shane Williams of 3SG Sports in the house today. And
definitely.
Look,
glad to be here. Everything's been going good.
Awesome, because it's so good and so delish up in here with information that's going on. I mean, I really don't want it to come to an end, but look, we're the last portion of our show today. And, before we went to break, we were talking about, pretty much at how the underdog as far as like individuals that are out there and being local. Shane, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit more overview about what that is?
Yeah, I mean, definitely in these different professional leagues, a lot of your players that are successful, they don't actually come from, the bigger schools. Some players come from smaller schools, smaller areas. So, and what people don't realize is NFL teams, they go all around the country. They go to Division I schools, Division II schools, Division III schools. They recruit everywhere because they're looking for talent. So you can't sleep on the underdogs. You can't sleep on the guys that's at a smaller institution. So being that we're one of the areas that we're based in is in Central Louisiana, we definitely always are looking to sign somebody from this area. And so I think the last couple of years we have had the opportunity to sign some guys from like Louisiana College and things of that nature. But we don't look down on players because players, roads are different. You might have a guy that was in high school and he was being recruited by all kind of SEC schools, Big 12 schools, but he maybe tore his ACL in his senior year, and a lot of those schools backed off from him. But guess what? The only school that offered him was a Division III school. But this guy has talent, and now he's healthy, and he's been doing his thing, in college for 3 or 4 years, and NFL teams are coming to the school and talking to him. Yeah, that's a guy you might consider signing. That's good. Because he has potential. So you can't just say, I'm gonna go get everybody from a particular school. You have to, when you actually looking and recruiting and definitely getting a list down of guys that may be that you may be interested in. You have to look at everything. Every school.
That's good. And the thing that I want to actually point out, okay, just because it's going to break the stereotype for just so many, because they broke the stereotype for me, is that, at how we need to appreciate exactly the God-given, gifts on the inside of us, but we also need to appreciate the gifts that people are actually flowing with around us. And so, since, Shane and, his family, in the creation of 3SG Sports, I mean, right now, he is a top-notch, okay, I'm talking a top-notch sports agent.
I appreciate that.
Really, it doesn't mean, I'm not just saying that. Like I said, you can tell from an individual how they carry themselves, how they speak, what's genuine on the inside. And it doesn't matter that he's from right here locally in central Louisiana, because what? He's on the same caliber, and I'm going to go out and say even on a better caliber just because of the foundation of what he has, than if you have some agent from New York or Los Angeles or, one of these other big cities people always looking to for the big sports agents per se. So, I just wanted to bring that out. So, don't try to diminish, who you're listening to right now just because you're not relating that to some type of stereotype that may have been conceived in your mind. So, Shane, I really want to know this, and a lot of people are probably wondering, how do you balance everything with your personal life and, your sports agency?
Definitely. Shout out to my wife, Myra Williams. You gotta make sure you check in with her and make sure the schedule is right. But definitely, it's about it's about time management. Having your time together, making sure you're balancing work and also family life. And also it's just communication. And so what I do is, I communicate with my house, and make sure my wife is on board with, with everything I'm doing. And also I have different, calendars where I make sure I have things listed down so I won't have any conflicts. And I try not to take on more than I can handle. And but most importantly, I make sure that I don't do enough where I can't, go to church on Sundays, try to go on Wednesdays, and still keep my relationship, with God, because I know that, that's what the foundation is.
Yeah.
So, but to touch base about when you were saying about the different agents, like in New York, when I sit down with parents, I let them know. I tell them, I say, hey, LeBron James, he has an agent, and that same agent, we took the same test to be certified. We go to the same meetings, every year. So we have the same, qualifications. So a lot of times, because this business is a niche business. I'm the only, to be honest with you, I'm the only certified NFL sports agent, only certified NBA sports agent in this area. So you don't have a lot of people to think about. So you assume that nobody here is doing that, but I am, and I represent guys all over the country, and been blessed to be able to do that, and definitely have the same knowledge base and as any agent in the country, and I'm confident that I can represent any player in the country.
That's it. Like I said, it's basically, I love the balance that he had and everything. Like I said, whether you realize it or not, it's coming out to where it's all biblical, and it's how scripturally, it says that how can a man take care of the things of God when he can't rule over his own house well. And I mean, having that balance and that communication, I mean, that's just definitely key in any aspect, especially in what Shane does and having to travel all over the country.
Definitely.
But, as far as like Shane, I just want to really get into it. I want you to just go ahead, flow whatever information that you have, and definitely, before the time just really runs away from us, let people know how they can find out about you, how they can connect with, 3SG Sports.
Definitely. The best way to really connect with us would be going to our website, 3sgsports.com. It has a wealth of information about the services we provide, our current client list, things that we offer as far as, marketing, things we offer as far as pre-draft training, post-career counseling. Just go check it out. They also have a contact form on there where you can put your information in, and that way you can reach out to us and things of that nature. But that's that's the best way that I would approach it. Go to our website, 3sgsports.com, and definitely check us out and see what we're all about.
I mean, I tell you, and that's like really great. That's some good information to be shared. And I tell you, I really pray that, those of you out there that always were thinking, well, maybe I don't have a shot. Maybe, I'm not going to be able to have someone to actually take care of me or represent me depending upon what type of school that I came from. I may have the talent, but, I'm just going to get overlooked. And you can see that how listening to Shane at how, 3SG Sports, how they represent their players, what they do for their players, what they look for in their players, and how they really help catapult, their players to that next level, that next echelon in life. So, look, need to take all of that in stride, and I'm just going to say marinate on it. And I really pray that you were taking notes on today, okay, really taking notes. And I'm really going to say yet again, okay, how you said, 3sgsports.com. 3sgsports.com. Get firsthand information, legitimate information, and not something that's just going to be blown up, okay, to actually get you to, sign with someone that's not going to have your best interests at heart. So, and that's what it is, okay? You want a family environment. You want people that's going to take care of you. But also, hey, I'm just going to throw it out there. You want a biblically based business that's actually just going to just do what's necessary for you. And so, Shane, on these last couple minutes that we have, I mean, is there anything really that's just locked away in your heart? Anything that you'd actually want to share with our listeners, the people that are going to be over social media, wherever they're going to get the rebroadcast and that are listening live? Is there anything that you actually want to share about this entire process, about people going after their dreams? Whatever's in your heart, just go ahead with it.
Yeah, I just definitely want to tell everybody that, dream big. Don't limit your dreams. Like I said, I got this vision, I got this dream when I was 13, 14 years old to be a sports agent. I never let anything hinder me, regardless of what happened, regardless of things that happened in my life. I always, kept that in my heart, and I believe that, through God that I would get it. So pray for open doors. Pray for God to put people in your place, because I didn't get this on my own. A lot of things had to happen. A lot of things had to line up for it to happen. And so I'm definitely thankful. As I reflect on my life, I think about, all the different individuals that, God put in place to help me. So definitely keep God first. That's our biblical scripture that we lean on, Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. So we want to make sure that we keep him first. We want to make sure that we use integrity, be honest, and treat people right. And that's what we do at 3SG Sports. But before I go, I want to thank you for allowing me on the show. I have a gift for you.
Oh, awesome.
I have a 3SG T-shirt that I wanted to give you. So this is the shirts that our players wear when they train all over the country in front of different teams, NFL teams. And so, I want you to have that. I appreciate the opportunity of being on the show. It's a blessing. Awesome. And your show is definitely a blessing, and it's going to continue to be a blessing to many to come. Awesome. So definitely. And my wife, she designed that, Williams Custom Designs, Myra Williams. She designed the shirt, and so that's definitely, it's done with love.
Awesome. And I thank you, Myra, for that. And, I tell you, it's been awesome, and everything that's been going on. Folks, take care and God bless, because, look, go to 3sgsports.com, and if you haven't realized that Shane Williams, God used him to keep you right now in your moment. Take care and God bless you.
God bless.